Okay, so you know, as we know here, I've covered EDP a lot. But I also like InternetAjay. I try to get like an Ajay video in every day or so on my stream because I really enjoy it. I like him. Even when I disagree with the guy, I like his content. So this is called The Rise and Fall of EDP445, from Eagles fan to getting caught in 4K. Let's get into this.
Like, if the cops saw these messages and saw you here, would they have arrested you? Yes or no?
Correct.
Okay. So look, see,
It's crazy because this guy's like not a good person at all. I remember your coverage of this situation, and like it was bad. Like this guy, EDP's a bad person that needs to be arrested. I truly believe that. But the lack of professionalism, specifically from this one guy, was insane, and he's gotten called out by multiple people. It's not just. Like, even Chris Hansen called him out. Like, he had a conversation. And I remember the other young man that was with him, you know, they did a lot of work to try to catch EDP. And the guy was like, hey, can I collaborate with you one day? Chris Hansen like ignored it. And it's because of I believe, the lack of professionalism from Alex here. I even had a conversation with him on stream because he would openly use the N-word with the hard R as a joke. He thought it was funny. And I was just like, he just wasn't getting it. You can watch the conversation yourself, but
Do you think you deserve to go to jail? Because you admitted this is not your first time. This is up to like 6th time.
right.
This is your 5th or 6th time.
Do I deserve to go to jail? If I'm being honest with you.
well, yeah. Yes, because that's what the problem. What happens when people continuously engage in behavior and they get away with that behavior, they're going to continuously feel empowered to engage in that behavior again.
You don't think so?
I think so.
You think so?
Okay.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, Microsoft Tech Support here. Today I'm going to be talking about EDP445. He is a YouTuber with about 2 million subscribers as of the making of this video. He built a large following because of his high energy rants and I don't give a crap attitude. However, he has a long-standing history of messaging minors which significantly damage his reputation.
That, I think, was his niece.
Attitude.
Or something.
However,
it's weird because I saw some videos of him with his niece, and it's just very uncomfortable to watch that stuff, knowing who the person that he is.
he has a long-standing history of messaging minors which significantly damage his reputation.
You have, like,
and
6
in
times.
mid-April 2021, he was exposed by predator poachers for trying to meet up with a 13-year-old decoy. This is the rise and fall of EDP445. Before I get into this video, I want to officially announce that I am releasing merch. I spent tons of time, effort, and money to come up with this cool custom design. It's basically me as a Titan from the anime Attack on Titan holding an arrow up because, you know, we're always rising.
Dude, I want to report you to Attack on Titan for stealing their IPs, dude. Sorry.
Gave it the 4 arms for some Indian flavoring, you know, some curry, some masala, just so it's not boring. I honestly wanted to wait until I had a product that I was absolutely 100% proud of, and I can happily say that I am. T-shirts, hood, please don't, but if you do buy something, get to this point. Now back to the video. EDP445's real name is Bryant Moreland and he is currently 30 years old as of the making of this video. He created his channel in June 2010 and rose to fame after he uploaded multiple videos about the Philadelphia Eagles. EDP was a huge fan of them and was very passionate. His videos often featured
Definitely a huge fan.
him ranting and cursing, which many enjoyed watching.
Now that I f***ing think about it, this spectacular goddamn offense that Chip Kelly is supposed to be the mastermind of, being ran out of the motherfucking shotgun 99.9% of the time, is designed to fail.
Why does he sound like such a nerd?
EDP's personality easily shined through and he quickly developed a loyal fan base. Viewers just couldn't get enough of his outlandish mannerisms and his outrageous style. For example, in one video, Bryant rubbed an Eagles beanie on his genitals, then exposed his ass and rubbed it there as well. Hare Krishna. Interestingly enough, the videos that crossed the line only increased Bryant's popularity further. And
Isn't that how it always works?
well, EDP also grew his channel by telling funny stories. One of the biggest was how he clogged a toilet in a Chipotle. Another big hit was how he nearly
Yeah, it's crazy how he used to be a really big meme on the internet. Like, even on TikTok, he was all over the place.
shit himself at school.
I'm trying not to shit all over my goddamn self. I'm trying not to shit on this floor. I'm trying not to have this main building go up in flames, because God knows if I take a shit right here, right now, it's not going to be good for everybody, okay? My shit stinks so bad, it could clear a funeral home out, okay? Real talk.
EDP's openness and willingness to unapologetically be himself made him astoundingly relatable. His vulgarity was authentic, and even his channel name, which stood for Eat Dat Pussy, proved that. Eventually, he branched out into cooking videos, reactions, vlogs, and even made a successful series called Don't You Hate That Shit. Brian's fame then skyrocketed, and he was featured on Tosh.0, Sports Nation, and The Howard Stern Show. After nearly
I didn't know he was on Howard Stern. Well, I didn't know he was on Tosh either, but Howard Stern, that's crazy.
10 years on the platform, EDP445 hit 1 million subscribers on February 12, 2020. It wasn't surprising as he worked incredibly hard and was
Wow, he went from, Jesus Christ. He went from 1 million subscribers in 2020 to like 2 million in 2021. Jesus.
very consistent with his uploads. However, he was denied a YouTube Gold Play button despite getting a silver one when he hit 100,000 subscribers. This was odd considering that he wasn't involved in any major controversies and didn't have any strikes on his channel.
I think he was involved in the controversy. Like it was like 6 people. I don't remember the first time that it happened, but he was talking to like, it's like 6 separate instances of him talking to underage people. So it's possible he was engaged in a controversy. But if YouTube knew about it and they still like kept him on his platform, it was like, but okay.
Nonetheless, YouTube maintained that his channel didn't meet their community guidelines. Due to this, other channels like Some Ordinary Gamers rallied to his defense as they felt he deserved to be rewarded. It was apparent that at this time, Bryant was a well-respected and valued member of the community. Fans even made a Change.org petition for him, but sadly he never received the button. However, in July 2020, the cracks in EDP's character began to show, which sparked his horrific downfall. It all started when Bryant released a video called Good Luck Exposing My Ass to get ahead of allegations that he knew would become apparent. In the video, he stated that he talked to a girl on Instagram who dressed provocatively and made sexual comments towards her.
And so I'm sitting back bullshit.
Yeah, there's a common trend of I think he at one point said like, oh, if it like, there's a common trend from predatory individuals of talking about the way somebody looks rather than the age of that individual. So like, oh, well, they look old enough, they look more mature, they're more developed, so that must make it okay. But it's not just about the physicality of the person. The bigger deal is like it's the mentality of the individual. Just because somebody is physically looks more developed, just because you find yourself more attracted to somebody, doesn't mean that they are mentally developed enough to engage in sexual intercourse with you. It's not really a hot take. It shouldn't be that difficult to understand. And that's why we have our laws in the way that we have them, where we have the age of consent at 18 years old. And even then, you're not done growing. But, you know, we as a society have come up with the construct of like, hey, 18. It should be 18 in every state. Some states like 17 or 16, which is insane. But that's the whole reason that we have people wait until they're 18, because we've come up with that number. It's not just about how you look, and it's fucking insane, you know. And I don't care that you're attracted, like it's gross, but I don't care if you're attracted to a developed 16-year-old or 15-year-old. It's still disgusting. It should turn you off the second you find out that that's the thing. The second, if you look at a 16-year-old and they look older, the second you find out that they're 16, you should just be instantly turned off. That's how it should work. But even if you're not, it's not about how you feel, it's about how you act. You're entitled to your personal feelings on your inside. Doesn't mean you're allowed to act on them. And I don't really understand why people don't understand this concept. People have these very, I would say, primitive ideologies where it's like, well, I like this. It's biological imperative, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're human beings. We don't operate purely on biological imperatives. We operate as a society of people with the ability to engage in critical thought. So it's just fucking insane. Like, if you want to live in our society, which you do, most people do, because it's better than not living in our society, because then you'd just be in the fucking woods, you need to make some concessions. And sometimes that means that you can't rape children. So I don't know why people, like an EDP, are so upset by that, and Glendon Cameron as well.
Shit, and I'm around with the on goddamn Instagram and shit, right? And I see this one chick, right? Hispanic chick, right? I mean, this bitch got some big ass titties, man. You know what I mean? Titties are all bolstered the out.
He then said he found out she was 15, and although he wanted to throw up from disgust, people still threatened to expose him.
This fucking bitch was 15 years old, man. Let me tell you something, dog. I wanted to fucking throw the fuck up, man, reading about that shit.
Yeah,
you know what
sure
I mean? Damn near made me lose all my lunch and shit. I'm sorry, made me lose all my dinner. You feel me? And so these motherfuckers are all like, oh, EDP is exposed. Oh, your fans ain't gonna like you no more. Oh, EDP is exposed.
Oddly though, he ended by saying that if someone wore revealing clothing, then their age didn't matter.
14, 15, 16, 17. I don't give a how like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't give a like, when you are wearing clothes like that, I mean, titties is just pushed together, ass is popping the
out and shit. When you wear, as a woman, when you wear clothes like that, motherfucker, let's be real, bitch.
Well, they're not women. They're girls. They're children.
You're fucking attention. You're trying to get attention from fucking guys.
For sure. That's for sure. When you dress provocatively, you're generally looking for attention from guys. Of course. Again, that doesn't really matter. Like, yes, but you're the adult. You're the responsible party, right? We treat children and adults differently. When children make mistakes, we're more lenient to them, even legally, than adults because they're dumb kids. You're an adult. You're required to act in a better way because you're a grown adult, and you also have access to more rights as an adult as well. It's really not that hot of a take.
It was a very concerning thing to say, especially for a video that attempted to address upcoming allegations. Soon enough, the details of the situation surfaced when several of his Instagram messages were published online. In one conversation, EDP responded to a girl named Lucy who asked for a birthday shout out for her boyfriend by sending a voice memo requesting to see her boobs.
Lucy, you better show me some titties. I don't give a like, talking about you want me to wish that birthday, motherfucker. You better show me some titties or something, shit.
He then said that he didn't care if she was one.
Oh my god, EDP, like, she's 14, like, she's 15, motherfucker.
Give a f. The bitch is one, motherfucker. Like, ain't shit free in this motherfucker.
In addition, there were multiple other messages that showed Bryant talking to minors.
Hold on a second.
Free in this motherfucker.
In addition,
you deserve someone that's gonna adore you and cherish you, but well, anyways, how's your clit? That's fucking creepy. I haven't seen all the older allegations. I think I was only aware of like the last two, or I was aware of the other ones, but I wasn't ingrained in them.
There were multiple other messages that showed Bryant talking to minors. After facing significant backlash, he then made a video called These Accusations and said that anyone who thought he was a chomo was flat out crazy.
And if you honestly feel and think that I would throw all of that away for some bitch, my then I mean, you need to take your motherfucking ass to the local doctor and get your fucking brain examined.
I mean, that you would. I think that the thing is that you feel very empowered as a larger content creator, and getting away with it previously makes you feel like you're just going to get away with it again. And then guess what? You didn't at one point, so thankfully.
He then admitted that it was his voice in the voice memos, but claimed it was all just a joke that stemmed from his twisted sense of humor.
Was that my voice in the voice clips? Yeah. Am I a pedophile? Fuck no. Do I have a f***ed up sense of humor? Yeah.
I love how every time someone's in a controversy, it's like, well, it was a joke. And sometimes it is a joke. But if it was a joke, then show us the context of the joke by just showing us the full DMs. It's all you would really need to do. But you wouldn't be able to do that, so.
You know what I mean? I'm a crazy ass.
Interestingly though, Bryant didn't specifically address the messages that he sent to the other girls. This resulted in many feeling that his response was quite disappointing. And in a thread in the EDP...
Yeah, but most people were still like, yeah, no, it was a joke. Like, a lot of his hardcore fans were still like, yeah, it's okay.
445 subreddit, several people even pointed out that his fans simply refused to believe that he was a chomo and blindly looked the other
True.
way.
I don't know what the fuck a chomo is. I'm assuming it's a pedophile.
And well, eventually the drama faded into obscurity. However, in November 2020, a YouTuber named Cold Raven released a video called Another Underage Girl Exposed Him, 7 in total. In it, he stated that Bryant had talked to
child molester. Okay.
7 underage girls, including one decoy account that he made. He also revealed that EDP swore on his deceased mother.
I remember that. So Acrello had gotten access to that from Cold Raven and then showed it to me. The reason, like, I didn't really move forward with it, and the reason was because I eventually talked about it because EDP came out and basically like admitted it in some capacity. I have a video on it, but the messages, the decoy unsent all their messages, so like the context was gone. You know what I mean? So that was why it was unfortunate.
To find a minor if she ever exposed him.
You swore on your dead mother. What do you think your mother's doing right now? Wherever she is. What do you think she's doing right now? Seeing her son as a fucking pedophile, and then swearing in her name for a underage child to keep their mouth shut and not speak out about you trying to groom them.
EDP then uploaded a video called My Response to Cold Raven. In it, he calmly ate chicken wings, but halfway through pulled out a gun and cocked it.
Yeah, then he removed this. Well, he's such a pussy too. That's the funny part about this whole thing is he's a fucking coward. Like if you ever met him in person, he's a total pussy. He deleted this very quickly though.
The video was clearly a threat and was incredibly alarming. As a result, more and more people took notice that Bryant refused to address anything directly, which brooded suspicion. Not willing to let EDP off the hook so easily, several YouTubers asked him about the lack of a response via a donation during his live stream. But after reading it, he just ended the stream.
Stop ignoring the Peter allegations that were thrown at you. Either own up to the mistakes or prove you're innocent, because we're waiting for your side. Oh! He just ended the stream after a lucid sentence! He just ended after a lucid sentence!
Keemstar then reported on the situation on Storyfire and invited both Cold Raven
Keemstar's everywhere, bro. Main character energy.
and EDP445 on Drama Alert. Unsurprisingly though, EDP didn't show and many were convinced that he was a chomo. However, he eventually folded to the public pressure and made a now deleted response video stating that minors were fair game as long as they wore skimpy clothing. Unfortunately, it just made him look worse and he lost the few fans he had left. In December 2020, Bryant made an Instagram post that showed him with his so-called girlfriend. Sadly, many people quickly dubbed the photo as fake given that EDP weighed significantly more in his recent videos and that there was a lack of masks, which would
I don't think his fans gave up on him just yet. It wasn't until the big break that they gave up on him.
have been expected because of the pandemic. Some sleuthier Redditors also looked into the girl's Instagram page and found multiple pictures of her with her boyfriend. It was clear that EDP445 was a liar. Unfortunately, things went exponentially downhill when a group called Predator Poachers led by a YouTuber named Chet Goldstein exposed Bryant for being a chomo.
Yeah, his name's actually Alex Rosen. My understanding is that the Chet Goldstein thing was supposed to be like an anti-Semitic thing, and I know he's Jewish too, but that doesn't mean you can't be anti-Semitic. This guy was fucking bad. This guy was a real piece of shit.
Chet uploaded a 55-minute video called Famous YouTuber EDP445.
Yeah, after he went and like he delayed it as much as possible, and he kept saying, give me money, give me money, give me money," and like kept editing it until it got monetized. And I understand like you should be able to monetize sensitive topics, but just the way that he went about it was just super like disingenuous.
5 caught meeting 13-year-old girl featuring to his channel on April 20th, 2021. In it, Chet explained he had multiple decoys message EDP and clearly state they were underage. He then showed multiple chat logs and video calls involving EDP and the decoys. Here are some of the disturbing messages.
He leaked his penis too.
"It's okay, lol. Hey there. Hi, I'm 14. IDKY, I told you. Yeah, you told me. We're just chatting, we cool. That makes up you and about 99.99 repeating % of my blank getting blank fanbase. Ah, okay, bet, El Mayo. How are you to dot?" The purple in the next two are the decoys. Damn, it's like that, huh? The only way to truly make me is come over here and literally out your hand over my mouth to make me stop talking. Either that or tickle me. You want me to place my hand over your mouth? You just gonna let a girl do that to you? Sure.
Yeah, I've covered like the whole conversation on YouTube. Show is fucking insane.
Sure, why not? Ooh, silly. If it's you, then I don't mind. Oh, you don't just let any—
Yeah, Chet is, or Alex is an ex-EDP fan. He even said that when he was talking to EDP. He's like, "Oh, people were rooting for you. We're fans of you, blah, blah, blah."
anyone do that. Good, I was about to say. I'd bite a bish. Oh no, fuck that, I don't anyone do that. One of these days, I'm gonna surprise you. Put my hands over your eyes and be like, guess who? Kiss your daddy goodnight, lol, sleep tight, princess. Wrong emoji in the front. In one conversation, he even showed a picture of a literal shit he took. However, the worst part of it all—
Yep, it was fucking bizarre. Like the first thing he sent there was a picture of his shit. It was fucking insane. Like this guy is socially awkward as fuck.
Was when one of the decoys asked EDP to meet her so he could try one of her cupcakes. At first he was reluctant out of fear of getting caught, but eventually agreed. He also threatened her in case it was a setup. The conversation between the pair was read and commented on by a member of Chet's team during a live stream.
"Sophie, I can't do this.
that's
This
the one.
isn't right. I feel so bad. I made cupcakes the entire day. This isn't fair to me. I don't want my heart broken. Can you at least just get a cupcake?"
You know, it was really interesting because I remember talking to Mama Gut about this. We did like a little, like we did a video a long time ago called, I believe, The Morality of EDP. And we had conversations about the ways in which we could properly catch pedophiles before they harmed a child. And this is going to be like a complicated thing to talk about, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. And that's because, you know, nobody chooses their sexual desires, really. And oftentimes, you know, a lot of pedophiles, people attracted to children, were actually molested as children themselves. And in my opinion, it's not until they get to a point where they harm a child that they should be severely punished. Before that, I think that it would be good from a societal perspective to encourage these people to go to therapy to get the help that they need so that they don't engage with minors and hurt minors. Once you do, though, again, off to the island. You know what I'm saying? And I remember talking about this because I was reading through this whole thing. Will therapy help? If it could, yeah, it could. But yeah, for sure. I remember talking about this, and it's a very interesting conversation to have about the way that we out these child predators, or well, we say pedophiles, and then of course we're encouraging them to be child predators once they get to a point where they start engaging with kids. And so you have a decoy who's an of-age decoy, and they will talk to these older individuals that have attraction to children. And in a lot of these instances, when you read through them, they're not super comfortable to the point where they feel like they could meet up. A lot of times there's a barrier there that makes them not want to meet up. And that's the fear of getting caught, of course. The problem is a lot of times these setups don't seem to legally end in these people getting caught for various reasons. You know, I think entrapment's one of them, and there's a whole slew of different reasons. And that just empowers these individuals who normally were pedophiles to actually become predators, because now that they got away from it, they got away with it. Now that they got away with it, they feel more empowered to do so, do it again, or engage again, try again. And it's an interesting conversation to have about these potential people trying to out predators. And I totally get it. I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but they may have the unintended consequence of actually creating the predator from the pedophile, if that makes sense. And so I remember having a conversation talking about how it's possible, or what we should probably try to do is, if we have some kind of suspicion of them being attracted to children, to get them in some kind of mandatory therapy before anything bad happened. And also creating a society where people feel more comfortable, not make it good to be a pedophile, but more comfortable coming out so they can get the help they need before a child gets harmed. And I know this is a very complicated conversation. A lot of you guys are probably like, oh, no, fuck pedophiles. And I get it. But I try to separate the pedophile from the child predator, because those are two different things. It's just a very complex conversation to have about this thing. But when we look at it, we're looking for an outcome that has the least negative impact on children. And I believe that the way that what I expressed, my train of thought would have the least negative impact on children. So,
I'm sorry, I feel awful, but I can't do this. If we get caught, I can go to jail for a very long time. I put all the blame on myself. I should have spoke up earlier. Like,
that's what I'm talking about. So like this is one of the things that happens with some pedophiles that are encouraged to meet, and you have an older person encouraging them to do so. And I'm not saying EDP's innocent at all. I think he should be in jail. But and most of the time these people wouldn't meet up with people. They don't have the courage to do so. They know it's illegal. And a lot of times the law fundamentally is a deterrent for a lot of behaviors. There is an argument to be made that there are people who would do the wrong thing if there wasn't a law against that wrong thing. Right? This is a very complicated conversation to have.
So like I said earlier, sorry, I just dropped something. Like I said earlier, the chats indicate that he regretted it every time that he would say something like this, not because of the age, but more so because he could get in trouble.
Yeah, honestly, and unfortunately, that's how some things work. If the law is one of the biggest things keeping children safe, that's fine. Like I said, you can't monitor everybody's internal thoughts. So, if there are people who are definitely afraid of getting arrested, and that's why they won't talk to kids. Great. There are things that I would do if it wasn't illegal. You know what I mean? Like, I would probably gotten a lot more fights. You know, I sometimes I can be a bit of a man. And I've had screaming matches with other men, or yelling matches, because, you know, we're men. We don't scream, we yell. But it doesn't come to a fist fight, because we know that we could end up in fucking jail. That's kind of the way the world works. So. I could be a bit of a man, yeah. Quote that.
Which is eventually why he shows up, right? He shows up because he's so motivated by his sick desires that he just thinks that it's worth it.
For sure. And then there's also a conversation to have is, if you were talking to a real 13-year-old, do you think that the 13-year-old would be as encouraging to meet up as an 18-year-old playing a 13-year-old? It's a very interesting question to ask, because when you have a decoy pretending to be a 13-year-old, they still have the mentality of an adult, and so there's more encouragement. You would assume a 13-year-old would be like, oh, okay, And that's it, because they see the adult as more of a point of authority. They look at EDP. If it was an actual 13-year-old talking to him, they would look at him as more of an adult, more of an authoritative figure, and they wouldn't question that decision. But you have younger people, or you have older people rather, who would question that, and they're trying to get them caught. And that's where like the entrapment kind of comes in a little bit more. Like I said, this is a very complicated, nuanced topic to really discuss. That you really have to have an open mind and be ready to talk about it when we talk about these things. And again, I want to clarify, I think EDP should be in jail. I'm happy he lost his platform.
Spoke up earlier. There's going to be nobody here. I want to just meet at the mall. And I promise, I won't say anything. You promised you'd come. You pinky promised. You broke it. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, dude, seriously, literally breaking my heart. I'm going to cry. You promised you wouldn't let anything hurt me. Just call me. Don't cry. I'm going to come. Call me. Promise me. Swear. I'll see you.
You probably wouldn't have seen this interaction with an actual 13-year-old.
Before, I didn't mean to scare you or anything, but I swear on my life, if this shit is a setup on some backdoor troll shit, or if police are involved, it won't be pretty. So like I promised you, I'll come. You have to promise me this shit isn't a damn setup. If something goes wrong here, my ass is on the line. You there?
Shockingly and sadly, EDP did attempt to meet with the decoy, but was quickly Chris Hansen and broke down. In the video, he revealed that he would be willing to exchange nudes with a minor.
You admit it could have led to nudes, yes or no? Boyfriend or girlfriend? Okay, so
yeah, that was another aspect that was fucked up. Like there was a level of actual grooming. So grooming, a lot of people like throw the word grooming out there a lot. Grooming is when you will create some kind of a physical or emotional dependence onto yourself, which is what EDP did. He tried to, and part of the way you do that is by driving wedges in between different, usually between their friends or their family. And there were times where he was being disparaging towards the decoy's family as a way to be like, oh, fuck them, and like, you know, be more dependent onto me. It's actually a very big part of grooming.
I mean, it could have led to something, yes or no? Correct. Okay. Correct.
He also stated that he agreed he would have been arrested if the police saw the messages and caught him attempting to meet the decoy. He even agreed that he deserved to go to jail.
Like if the cops saw these messages and saw you here, would they have arrested you, yes or no? Correct.
Remember, he had the whole gun, he was like a tough guy, but then he gets into person, he's a fucking pussy.
Okay. So look, see,
do you think you deserve to go to jail? Because you admitted this is not your first time. This is up to like 6th time.
Right.
This is your 5th or 6th time.
Do I deserve to go to jail? If I'm being honest with you.
You don't think so?
I think so.
You think so?
Okay.
And the reasoning for all of this, according to EDP, was, well, loneliness.
What goes through your head? What makes this okay for you? Because this is disgusting. Like, real, man.
What goes on is loneliness, dude.
Naturally,
what's interesting though is like if I was a really like overweight and unattractive person, I guess I'm getting there. No, but all jokes aside, it doesn't explain the going after children part, right? I'm assuming loneliness is probably a factor, of course. So I'm laughing because people are laughing at me. But loneliness is a factor when it comes to being desperate, when it comes to engaging with different people. But usually, this wouldn't be the way that it manifests itself. There's also a factor of attractiveness to children, or being attracted to children. Because why wouldn't you pay for sex then? You know what I mean? Like if I was a lonely, desperate loser, I would pay for sex. That's what I would do. Because it's not just the desperation; it's also the attraction to children. I would pay for sex, especially if I had a lot of money. I would pay for a girl to have sex with me. You know, and maybe I'd develop a relationship with a fucking prostitute or something, and maybe I'd make them my girlfriend or something. You know what I'm saying? But there's the additional level, and that's wrong legally, right? We understand that, but we wouldn't morally hate that person. We'd be like, yeah, it's gross, but we get it because they're engaging with adults. But this is an additional layer of being attracted to children. Yeah, and he has the money to pay for sex too, absolutely. And he's also rich, so he probably didn't have to be as lonely as he was. But he also looks like he smells.
The situation created tremendous backlash, with pretty much everyone in the YouTube community condemning him for his predatory behavior. Many stated that he should go to jail, and some even informed the local police about what happened. On April 23rd, 2021, EDP privated all of the videos on his main channel, which was likely an attempt to delete further evidence. Overall, EDP's reputation was tarnished as he finally went too far and was starting to face the consequences of his actions. Cold Raven also received the validation he deserved for being right the entire time. As of the making of this video, Bryant has not been arrested. However, his YouTube channel was terminated, which is absolutely justified. I am super proud of YouTube for doing the right thing. Personally, I do think that both are likely and just outcomes given his absolutely disgusting behavior. In addition, EDP needs to go to therapy to examine why he thinks the way he does and change it. He needs to learn that his actions have powerful consequences and can seriously ruin someone's life. It's extremely concerning and worrisome that a beloved member of the YouTube community could do such a thing. I hope that justice is served. Also, after the popularity of the Chet Goldstein exposed video, several alarming videos and posts from his own past resurfaced online.
Fucking on the live stream. It's bad, dude. The niggers are gonna get offended and report us. Oh, you right?
Yeah, see.
What's wrong with you?
I talked to him specifically about that clip. I was like, this is basically how the conversation went. He said the N-words are gonna be, you know, and he mentioned a black person's name, and he basically called black people the N-word. And I said that, like, that's incredibly inappropriate. It's not funny to call black people the N-word. And his response was, hold on, I just got to get my shit. His response was, well, I made it 2 years ago. And so my response was like, okay, so you could do anything 2 years ago. Like, for instance, let's say that you sexually harassed 2 women online, like 2 years ago, and you give a really disingenuous apology. If somebody says like, hey, do you still believe this, or do you still think this was a good apology, or something like that, they say, you know, you get my point. Sorry. Let's say that you did something bad 2 years ago. Let me give a better example. And you never truly, genuinely apologized for it. And 2 years later, somebody said like, hey, you know, how do you feel about this situation? And they're like, oh no, I still feel like this is the way I feel. It doesn't mean that anything's changed. You have to actually change your perspective. So if you used to say the N-word 2 years ago, which is wrong, and then you said it to somebody, and then 2 years later, you're like, hey, what do you think about that? And the first response is like, well, it was 2 years ago, rather than like, yeah, that was really shitty of me. Then you've made no growth. So he still believes in it. And he was also talking about how it's funny, it's a joke, and about how he really likes black people, and that he let a black person stay with him. And what's so interesting is that like his black friend reached out to me. And he was like, oh, he's not a bad guy, blah, 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 blah. But he's racist. I know that. That's not what he said to me. What I found interesting, though, is in the video, Alex tried to say, well, he had that black guy defend his actions. But he even expressed that he was uncomfortable with his sense of humor. So even his best black friend, who doesn't hate him, and I think his black friend also said that he got called, for lack of a better term, well, I don't want to say like a lack of a better term, he would be called like an Uncle Tom from other black people. I believe he said that as well. Even he said he was upset. He didn't like the racist jokes, but he just kind of dealt with it. Partially, maybe because he needed the help. So he was like, I guess I got to deal with racism too, so I can live with this guy for some capacity. But like, yeah, even his like the black friend that he used as like, oh look, I have a black friend, so I can't be racist, was even like, yeah, this guy, I don't like his racist jokes. It's insane.
This guy just said racist creep. Ugh.
In one post, he called someone the N-word after they messaged him on Instagram. Y'all removed that screenshot real fast because you realized how hurt you came off. I'm crying. Real professional PR team. Anyway, can't wait for the channel to get purged again. I was told to remove it by my boss. F you. Exactly. And all those EDP dick suckers. Listen, your boss wage slave. Fuck yourself, N-word. I don't support EDP, I just don't support racists, the two can coexist. He also made a video prank in which he called the BLM hotline. And in the worst Uno reverse card possible, he was caught making predatory jokes.
I have a 3-year-old in my basement that's like lacking vitamin D. I need to give this to her. It's my birthday, so I'm being generous for one day to her. What? I provide her with plenty of D, just not the vitamin part.
Overall, Chet's behavior is extremely problematic.
That wasn't even the worst thing. He did like this whole prank where he pretended to like elicit pictures from a minor. It was so weird.
But please don't let it take away from what EDP did. They are both in the wrong and deserve to face the consequences for their actions. Chet's channel was also terminated, but it was for ban evading as his old account Predator Poachers was previously banned. Overall, the lessons here are don't be a racist and don't be a predator. It's just that damn simple. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please consider giving me a big thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. Peace.
It's unfortunate that Chet was just such a flawed individual. And he was, it's not even that he was flawed. He was an unapologetically flawed individual. It's okay to be flawed, but it's like when you won't apologize for bad behavior, and you could change your perspective. Like, it's not that big of a deal, but he refused to do so.